games in general?
Mostly computer gaming. That was my main love, and it has been something that I've done ever since I was about 6 and I played Doom at my dad's work. So yeah, I ventured into strategy games on computers, and then kind of realised when I moved about 2 years ago that I didn't do anything socially. So Wargaming, after I found out what it was due to Lord of the Rings, stumbled into a Games Workshop one day. Kind of thought it was a good thing to take up as a social interaction thing, meet some people in the area, and it's kind of grown from there to a bigger gaming club and tournaments and travelling around. So I built up quite a good social network out of, yeah, just putting myself out there through wargaming.
When you first kind of started getting into miniature gaming and wargaming, what were your thoughts, kind of just seeing it from the outside, starting to get it?
All it was to me, because I watched a demo game when I was in the store, and the manager was talking to me about Lord of the Rings and trying to like sell me that as a game system. But I was watching a fantasy demo, and I just thought it was like chess, but with each piece there's a unit instead of a singular model, and it kind of made sense to me from the get-go. And I'd had a little bit of experience with stuff like Shogun 2 and, you know, Command and Conqueror, of like the system of a strategy game and how to kind of be a general within your army. So it wasn't too perplexing, but obviously the individual rules for each unit, each army, each weapon was something to get used to, because there's not that level of detail in computer games as there is on a tabletop version, especially fantasy. So yeah, it was really daunting to begin with, because I didn't understand what was going on, or why dice rolls were not counting for one thing and wounds, and it was all a little bit overwhelming. But I slowly got to grips with turn by turn, and then it kind of started to make sense. So,
what is it about the strategy aspects of the game that you think attracts you to it?
I just like the ability to, I like skirmish like a lot. Lizard men and wood elves are both very skirmishy kind of armies. And I like the idea of kind of ambushing someone and scattering around my army. I don't like big blocks, and I've never, it's like all eggs in one basket kind of situation. I'm not comfortable with doing it. So to have lots of little annoying units to be coming in all angles is a fun notion to me. And I like archery in real life as well. So
when you're playing an opponent, what's kind of going through your mind as you're playing that skirmish?
Mostly how they react to each movement. I think I focus a lot on facial expression and how they are perceiving it. And you can tell when they take a pause over something that you've done it right, where they're like, how do I get around this now? So I do focus a lot on their poker face, as it were, and how they respond to my movements. So kind of psychological. I like that aspect of battling someone, to get in their mind.
So on average, how much do you play?
Recently, hardly at all. I've just moved from Devon to London way, and I've been finding my feet into getting a club, but everywhere's quite scattered, so to get the time to play a game has been difficult. But I've made my own little group up in a local pub, and so I'm currently acquiring my own tables and terrain to bring people down and get some games going, primarily 40k, just a bit of an intro again. But I mean, when I was doing tournaments, I was playing quite regularly, maybe once, twice a week, fantasy, and my Wood Elf wins have been better than my losses, so it paid off.
You've been doing a lot of painting, and I remember when you first started to paint. Tell me a little bit about that creative aspect into actually miniature gaming. What do you kind of take away when you're thinking about your models and what you might want to do?
There's a lot of inspiration online, and there's a lot of similar colour schemes and things like that. And what I really wanted was to have something that not necessarily stands out as a bold colour, but that is themed. What I've started to love is a themed army, and I watch a lot of TV shows and films. So I theme every army after something that it reminds me of. So I've got Malifaux, District 9, I've got Game of Thrones lizards, Sithron Necrons, and yeah, I'm starting to go along that route to really draw inspiration of colours from something that I love as well. So it means that I love that army that much more because it's personal to me, and I get to, I guess, watch a TV show while I paint an entire army. It's just a bit of an excuse really to re-watch Game of Thrones several times. Yeah.
You've kind of touched on a little bit of the aspects of gaming, the social aspects in general. What do you think within society, what do we take away from gaming?
I think the social aspect of stuff like tournaments is massively underrated, that it's not really focused upon. And when you say, you know, I do wargaming, they're like, do you? And I think, you know,
Fantasy team players, reminder once again at the end of game turn 3, teleport the forest in the center of the table.
Wow, that was unexpected.
Thanks, Judge. Yeah, I think the social aspect no one really talks about because, you know, after this tournament, I know there are quite a few people that are going out for pizza and, you know, going out into the city, and whenever I've done a tournament in England, even a small one, you know, we all go out together, have a nice meal, and I think it really does bring people together, and it's not at all, you know, a basement dwellery kind of a thing that stereotypes generally place wargamers under. It's much more open than anything
Time
I've
check,
done.
we are also at the 1.5 hour mark. Hour and a half remaining.
We can all see that anyway. There's a massive timer.
It's like 2 feet tall and 5 feet wide.
Thanks, judges. So yeah.
So what do you think makes a good game?
A good individual game when
Just
someone
in general,
plays.
like, what makes a game worthy of playing, or what makes a game something that someone would want to do?
When playing a specific game, I think two major things are important to not, like, you can either be massively crushed or you can go out a little bit with your head a little bit larger with a victory. I like the fact that when you play a game where you've got a certain level of even matched, that it becomes a skill thing, that you can be truly proud of a victory and not just my unit's bigger than your unit. So I like the fact that I mostly play comped tournaments where there is a little bit more of an even keel with all the armies, where some are boosted and some are kind of nerfed. And it gives you that skill benefit that you can outthink your opponent rather than outsize them. And, you know, the person that you're playing, you don't want to play someone that's playing evil mind games with you to try and put you off. You want to play someone that's fun and that knows the rules as well as you do and is not really mean about it. So I think a nice player and an even match is a perfect game for me.
As you think back, as you've been playing games and had different tournaments, what was one of your favorite experiences?
I played a guy called Wrenn in Cardiff in Wales, and he had my complete counter army of demons. And obviously I was playing Wood Elves at the time, and they've got fire and magic attacks. So I have no ward save, and I have no any other save because fire is double wounds, and I can't even defend myself against it. And I 20-0'd him, crushing defeat. I have no idea how, and even he was speechless about it. But he's was such a gracious and funny guy. He was helping me out a little bit, telling me about what his units would do and what his big bloodthirster would do. And I challenged my tree man in, and they had a really long duel of sorts, and I came out of that game winning with minimal losses against an army that I was certain would defeat me in the first 2 goes. So that was one of my best victories I've ever. I will never recreate it, never, but I loved it. It was a great game and a great guy.
So about a year ago, you decided that you were going to take your YouTube channel and really start focusing on kind of the evolution of what you're doing. What made you want to do that? Why?
Because there's only a certain level of time and editing skill you can really put into it with the minimal equipment, and by minimal I mean I had a laptop that would die if I moved it an inch without the power cable plugged in. So I wanted to focus on making things fun, and I have a lot of ideas, and I think with the amount of videos that I've done, you can see the development of how I am as a presenter, how I am as an entertainer, and a teacher to a certain degree that is massively different from my first few videos. That without that initial, Indiegogo stuff would never have happened, because I wouldn't have been able to expand in any way. I had no handheld camera, I had a phone, and I don't think I've disappointed with the results that I've been giving since then and how much progress I've made. I mean, the ETC video from Poland last year, ended up on Bell of Lost Souls, and that wouldn't have been possible without that. So I think it was necessary for me at the time to stay in YouTube as a community, and it's something that I'll never forget. In fact, one of the guys that pledged towards the Indiegogo he said that he would choose my 40k army. And when he contacted me about it, he said, no, I want you to choose it. We'll choose it together because I want you to love that army, not love it because I love an army. And so I've been hanging out, we just had breakfast together, and I've been speaking to him for a year on Skype every week or so, and every 40k video I do, he's got something to do with. So it's been lovely to meet him, and he's come all the way from Canada. So it's really helped set in my YouTube career of sorts in stone, and I've really tried to prove my worth because of it, and I think that kind of pressure has pushed me into gear, to get me going.
Are you sneaking up on 7,000 subscribers now?
Yes, yeah, that's happened quite quickly actually. I think I've gotten about 2,000 subscribers in the past 3 months. I've done a few things with gold painting as well, and that's helped push me over 6,000, but I'm creeping up on 7,000, and as part of the consortium I'm nearly beating Chung, so I'm really excited when I get to that moment where I can get anywhere close to Leicester Bursley and just be like, huh, I win. But I don't think that will happen for quite some time, but I just plan to keep the people that I've got interested rather than try and acquire more, because I think it's quite important that the people that have been watching from the start keep wanting to, not me trying to reach out to get more subscribers. It's never really been my goal. I'm grateful for everyone that wants to see what I do. So yeah, I love it.
So what are Joey Berry's plans for the future? Where would you like to take this? What would you like to do?
I don't know. I think as I am at the moment, just kind of meet and greet. I want to get out and about in the real world a bit more, and less just behind a computer screen. I think this Adepticon is the beginning for this year, because I'll be going to Valhalla, I'll be going to Gen Con, I'll be hopefully going to Cologne and various places in England as well, back to Wargaming and Preston to see Nick and stuff. So I want to be out in the Wargaming community and not just an internet face. So I want to make some friends.